I can prove to you that Christianity is not real and it was created by Paul, and it's actually Paulism in just 35 seconds.
It would be pretty hard for Paul to start Christianity, considering Christianity was around hundreds of years before Jesus was ever even born. The word Christ or Messiah was used all throughout the Old Testament by Jewish peoples who predicted and anticipated the coming of the Christ. Since they were believers in the Christ, they were inherently Christians.
Paul never met Jesus in person, yet claims to know everything about him.
Paul did meet Jesus through revelation after the resurrection, and he was also in close company with all of the eyewitnesses to Jesus' miracles.
Paul shifted the entire narrative. Instead of being focused on Jesus' life, it was focused on his resurrection and after his death.
Yes, Paul was a theologian, so he wrote about the theology of Christ, while the Gospels are historical accounts, so they focus on the history of Jesus' life.
Paul rarely quoted Jesus directly.
Yes, and that adds to his credibility. Keep in mind, Paul wasn't there for any of Christ's ministry, so he wouldn't have any way to know exactly what Christ said.
Jesus didn't come down to spread a new religion. He kept spreading the religion that was already there at the time, which is Judaism.
If Jesus was spreading Judaism, then why did the Jewish leaders of the time execute him for blasphemy?
Yet then Paul goes ahead and founds the church and starts Christianity, which is not something that Jesus did.
Except Jesus did start a church. That's why he says, "I will build my church" in Matthew 16:18.
How can someone who's never met Jesus tell us exactly the teachings of Jesus that we're supposed to be following? If I was going to make an assumption based off not knowing too much, I'd assume that Paul was doing that for his own personal gain.
What personal gain? Paul was a highly respected religious leader who lost everything by becoming Christian. He was later beheaded for following Christ.
Where's the proof? Find me the proof that shows me that what Paul is telling us is an authority, because I cannot find it. This truly just reminds me of why I love Islam so much, because there's none of this confusion in the one true religion. Alhamdulillah.
So you don't trust Paul to write about Jesus because he wasn't there for his ministry, yet you trust Muhammad to write about Jesus even though he came 500 years later?